This is an Ellis Mowers and More small engine repair. Stay connected on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers and More. Comments or questions? Leave them below or email me, ellis@ellismowers.com. Parts used in today's repair are found using the links in the description below. And as always, like and subscribe for more small engine content. On today's small engine repair, we have a Troy Bilt Pony 42X. This is mine. I got this in a trade deal. If you saw the video on the gray Craftsman LT 1500, the MTD Craftsman, that was mine. I had to put an engine on it and really not too much else to get that thing going again. Late in the season, got it listed for $625 and not a soul has been interested in it yet. So I may have to drop it to $600 to see. Too bad, because that's a pretty nice mower for the money. Could sell it all day for that price about 2 months ago. But nonetheless, this is the second one. I'll have a separate video on like a trade train deal, because I had a free Craftsman LT 1000 that I fixed and then sold and got some money, plus these two mowers, which aren't really in bad shape. I pulled them out of the woods. This is the second one to get fixed. I thought I had done a little bit of video on this, but I think it was just late one evening, and I decided not to pull the camera out to do a couple of minor things. What I've done so far, it was missing a wheel, so I put a wheel on it. Wheel and tire. One of the wheels is, or one of the rear tires is actually bad. Probably need to throw some ATF and stuff in it. Gotta go get some of that, because I run through that like water, fixing tires around here. This is the 42X, 7-speed, 2018 model year. It's got the Powermore engine on it. I got this thing to run, but it is leaking a little bit of gas past the needle in the seat, and so every time you try and crank it, it's trying to choke itself out. And then once you get it running, it surges up and down. But I have seen this mower run, drive, and cut. We're going to sort out some of the issues, mostly just carb issues with this, hopefully. And so we'll go ahead and get into that here next, before we give it a good once-over and give it a really, really good cleaning. So knowing that the carburetor needs to be cleaned, we're going to go ahead and get started with that. These Powermore engines are, let's just say I'd take a Briggs over these Powermore any day, even with the compression release issues and all that stuff. They're okay. I've seen them run decently, but they're underpowered and they're pretty cheaply made. Give you all a quick look around. We'll get into the carb here next. Quick look around this thing. Troy Bilt Pony 42X, 2018 model year. I'll show you all the model number. Cosmetically, after I wash it, it's probably going to be alright. It's got a couple of small rips in the seat here. And here is the model number, 1388877 BS066, date of manufacture May of 2018. So, not too old for what it is. 42-inch deck. Sounded okay. I think all the belts and stuff are in okay shape. It drove fine, and usually if they're driving, I don't touch the belts, even unless they're just atrocious. They feel fine. They have a little bit of wear on them. Blades actually are, I think the blades are bent on this, if I remember correctly, just by a quick glance. Oh yeah, that one's definitely bent. So it will need blades. That's pretty much a given when I get these used mowers. But had a wasp nest underneath it. Put a battery in it, and this thing will kick over. And there you go. You heard it fire just on. I've had the vice grips on here for a couple weeks because, well, there's really no gas in it, so I don't know what the point was of me doing that. But put the vice grips on, keep the gas out. I'll take them off since there's no gas left in this thing. But I'm going to take the hood off and I pulled I know people love when I do this, but I pulled the anti-backfire solenoid off of it just to see if I could get it fixed that way. That didn't do anything beneficial, so yeah. So I'm going to pull this hood off. When you pull the hood off here, I don't really show this much, so I figured I'd show it. Your headlight wires come up through here. You have to take the headlights out of the hood. Run down through that side of the hood right there. And we'll just tuck them back here for right now. Make sure they don't rest up against anything that'll burn this mower down. So pull the hood off, and we have a lot of cleaning to do on this thing, as you can see. That gives us into the carb area here. These aren't the easiest things to take off, but they're not too bad. Looks like somebody's kind of rigged it up a little bit and worked on it a tiny bit. Now sometimes these things will run rich because of these air filters, and these air filters, I don't know what the deal is with them, but they won't suck enough air. It'll run rich and cause all kinds of issues for you. So let's see, what do I need to do next? So I got a screw right here that I need to take off. And y'all know these things will get the carb screen clogged on the inlet of the carburetor. So what I'm thinking might have happened here, if I can speak today, is that it has maybe like passed a piece of grass or something in there. I'm not sure. That's causing it to flood out. Because typically you don't have these issues with these. What I like to do to get these off is, and some people are like, you're doing way too much work, because I had that with the last Powermore I worked on. I pull the intake bolts out of this thing because of all the linkages and stuff. You can't really get them off very well if you don't. You can't really access the bolts very well either. So if I pull the intake off here, what that allows me to do is swing this whole carb out, and I can take this extra, or these two 10mm off here, and it also gives me more flexibility to not bend these linkages to pieces. We got the fuel return here and the breather all in that intake pipe. And gotta take the fuel line off, but I'll crack off this next and pull the fuel line. As y'all can see, this really is not that difficult to do. Just a little more involved than maybe like a Briggs & Stratton single cylinder, with having to take off with pulling the whole intake out of this thing. Now I have a carb for a Powermore here, but I don't think it's for this particular model. So if I can't get this thing right, then I'm probably going to have to order one. And these Powermore carbs are like in the neighborhood of $30. I can usually get a Briggs one for about 10, or not 10, but usually under 15, a decent one. But not at this point. So take it over to one of my trays over there. We'll take this thing apart and see if we can get it cleaned and potentially stop leaking from the needle in the seat. Take this off. This is a 14 millimeter on the bottom down here. See how it looks down here. There's an O-ring there. You want to make sure that that doesn't get compromised. That jet looks okay. And I might go ahead and pull the anti-backfire solenoid off of it again too. Actually, that comes off completely, doesn't it? So let's see what we've got in here. We've got a little bit of varnish down there. A little bit. Here's our, pull this aside, our gasket. This thing will be 6 years old. It's kind of crazy how bad it is. Oh, you can see it right there. Actually, this needle is stuck. So maybe we just need to put a little bit of WD-40 in it, and it'd be okay. Ooh, there we go. And so we've got the carb here now as well. Probably just need to jet it out maybe 1/1000th while I'm here. Give it a good bath and some cleaner. A little bit of, because I don't know if you can hear that. Even with the carb closed there, still having that issue. So let me pull the needle in the seat out here. I don't know if I necessarily see anything in there, but the needle itself, the spring doesn't seem like it's returning like it needs to, so I'm just going to put a little WD-40 in everything here, free everything up a little bit, and we might be in good shape. So let's see. Sorry, the wife is on a conference somewhere, so just checking. I think I'll go pick her up from the airport here shortly. So if we've done all that right there, wipe a little bit of this varnish off of the side of this needle. That's probably our issue. Let's see if that remedied anything or if I'm just fighting an uphill battle at this point. Let's see. I think we're getting close. Alright, it's working much better now. So I'm going to spray a little bit of carb spray into that jet. I'm tempted while I have it off to drill it out 1/1000th, but you know. So it's basically sealing it when I have like full-on air in it, which is good. So I don't know if this one's got a carb screen in it or not. Let me put it on the vise here. Put it on the vise and grab some pliers and see if I can pull it off. if I can, I'll pull that carb screen off, because I've had 2 come in already this year that have had bad carb, would not run after a certain amount of time because the carb screen was blocked enough to where it would allow just enough gas to get it to where it would run for a minute or 2, but not be able to fill the carb back up fast enough. So let's see. I know these pliers are a little bit overkill, but I don't think this one's got it. Which would be kind of nice, actually. So, alright, well, knowing all that, I'm willing to try it, put it back on. I'm going to wire brush some of this varnish out real quick. I'm going to slap it back on just the same way I just took it off, and we'll see if it runs any better. To mention, there is one other jet on the top here. So you take off a screw that looks like a half moon. Boom, like that. And then this piece, and then you can pop the jet out. There's a small jet, the top jet right there. Sometimes that'll get blocked and it'll cause it to not run right. So I'm going to spray a little bit of stuff in there just to get it clean. We'll put it back in there, and you know, hopefully after I put it all back together here in just a second, so that'll go like that, and then we'll put the screw back on it like that. So make sure you don't cross thread this stuff, because it's easy to do if you're not careful. So I'll put that back on. I put the carb on just like I took it off, and we'll see if this thing runs any better. All right, let's see if a little bit of WD-40 and a little bit of carb spray brought this thing back. I've let it sit for maybe a minute or so. That's enough. If it's going to flood, it's going to flood. So let's see. Uh-oh. Perfect. It is running though. Like I said, it looked like it shot a bunch of junk out of it though, so I don't know if it's a... I'll tell you what, while we're here, the driveway is actually looking emptier than it has in a while. But, and we got, what, 4 mowers that need to be picked up, so that'll help out a lot. I do need to clean the carb a little bit more, as you can hear, but I'll show you that it drives and cuts while we're here as well. bad right there, especially since for what I've got in this thing. I do need to let it sit for a minute, though. I do want to see if it does, if it will start back up without having any issues with like choking and whatnot. Make sure that we got that needle and seat working right. I am going to pull the carb back off. I'm going to drill that jet out by about 1,000th. I think that we need to do that in order to get this thing to run a little bit smoother. I've done that on a cup, maybe like one other of these 547 cc's, and it makes it run a lot better. So let's see if it'll just start back up with no issue now. I'll see, I've got just a tiny bit of gas in it, so what I'm going to do, let it sit for about 10 minutes. I'm going to clean the garage up because I got to go here in a few, and just see if that works. What I might do for peace of mind is just buy a carb for this thing, because if I do, I know I'll fix it, I'll send it, and I won't see it again probably. So that may be the goal, but I just wanted to give this thing a chance. I don't really play with leaking needles and seats very much. I don't do the whole, well, make sure you turn the gas off. No, if you need to turn the gas off, you need to fix the carb. So I'll let it sit for a few, clean up the garage a little bit, come back and see if it's gonna leak on us and start back up as easy as it did just a minute ago. So I'm in the process of replacing the mower blades on this, and unfortunately it's got an issue with where these blades join up. If you can see, they're not even. So what I believe has happened, because this blade was really, really bad, these deck spindle mounts were shot up somewhere, and let's see, I'm trying to see if I can see what side is the one that's compromised. I would imagine, since the blade got bent, it's this side where it's got pushed up a little bit. So I've got to take the spindle off, which is 410 millimeters, take a hammer, knock it from the top side, knock these spindle tabs down a little bit, and then kind of a trial and error, put them all back together, see if they join like they're supposed to. Otherwise, I'm going to have a very sparse cut. It's going to be uneven right here in the middle of the deck, and so we're going to try our best to avoid that. Well, just finished cutting the backyard with it. Put some blades on it. I had to even out those tabs. I think I showed y'all. It cuts pretty good now, so that's good. Gonna, do the shine and stuff on it. Got to blow the deck off and clean out the headlight lenses on the inside, because I like to do that as well, just to finish it off. This thing was really dirty. It's amazing that less than a month ago this thing was sitting back in the woods, left to rot basically, and I brought it back, and the thing's running good now. I'm thankful that carburetor situation was easy to fix, that it wasn't too hard to fix really. Just had to break out that spare carburetor that I had, and it worked pretty well. I'm going to show you the inside of it here. This thing ain't going to be the prettiest thing in the world, but I think I'm going to list it, since it's so new, I'm going to list it for about $700 and see what happens with it. And we'll see what it ends up being. And there it is. Everything's cleaned up, ready to go. The ATF definitely brought it back. Just cut my backyard before I cleaned it up. I think I showed that to y'all in the last clip. Did beautifully. Got new blades on it. All the tires are holding air like it's supposed to, and I mean, it's fine. Let me start it up. The one thing, and I don't know if anybody can help me out on this, this Powermore, I can't figure out the choke on this thing, because what I did is, this lever right here is supposed to push forward, but it never pushes. It can never pull the choke in all the way. However, I have never had to choke this thing to start it. Like, as soon as I fixed the carb on it this morning, like I turned it over for like 2 seconds and it just kicked right on. So, and it runs great now. Except for the occasional backfire, right? Oh well. No surging. Runs good. Headlights work. Clean the headlight lenses. So, it's an engine. It's going to backfire every once in a while. And it idles down pretty good, although it likes to. Wants to try and cut off. I may have to adjust the idle just a little bit. Oh, that's right. I need to plug these back in for the seat safety. And I've got one more. Let's see. Where's the other wire at? Oh well. Let me just make sure it'll stop in the neutral. Okay, so that's good. I like to sell them with the safety switches working. So I got a bolt I need to put back here, but that's it. And this thing's ready to go. I'm going to list it actually as soon as I finish this video. So that's going to be good, and we'll wrap this video up next. So that's everything on this Troy Bilt Pony 42X with the Powermore on it. Really, the biggest thing we had to do is figure out the whole carb situation and get that all sorted out so that it didn't leak gas or surge. That took probably about an hour and a half for me to figure out, get sorted out with all the carburetor parts and everything that I have here, and we ended up getting it sorted, which is good. And that was really the big issue with this. I don't originally know why it was parked, other than the fact that the wheel fell off. Hopefully that's not the reason why it got parked, but you never know. So I think I'm going to list this thing for $700 because it is a newer machine. It does have some wear and tear, especially with this burn, almost like plastic got too hot up top, and with it being 6 years old and just being a cheap basic riding mower this time of year, I had to go back and look and see what I listed a couple of others that I had for that were this body style within the past couple of years and kind of go off of that. But I think anywhere between $7 and $750 is going to be my number. Probably realistically going to get about $650 for it if I sell it this year. I've got the Craftsman LT 1500 that y'all saw a few videos back that came in the trade deal with this. I've got it listed for $625 with 0 bites on it right now, and it's been up for nearly a week. So not expecting this to go quick. I may be wrong. We'll see if we get any trades as well. But apart from that, everything's good to go on it. This is somebody went and bought the cheapest riding mower that they could find pretty much in 2018 with the Pony 42X with the Powermore, and here we are 6 years later putting it all back together, sending it on to a new home, hopefully where it will stay for a good little while and not really have any issues. So the rest of the machine actually turned out really nice. Just had to replace the blades on it, and so we're good. But I do appreciate y'all watching this repair video. I do appreciate all the support. Y'all really do love these riding mower videos. They do the best on the channel, view-wise and interaction-wise, and so I do my best to help cater to what y'all want to see. And so hopefully y'all see a lot more riding mower content coming up soon. We got a bunch of stuff back there that hopefully I'll be fixing here in the coming months to get ready for next spring, and then whatever else doesn't sell here in the fall, just build up some stock so that once March of next year comes, we will be in really good shape in terms of selling things. Thanks again, y'all, and I will catch y'all on the next video.